All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm going to take a quick look at the quant and the AI sector. We'll look at BBAI. I'll probably take a look at SOUN. I'll look at Rigotti, QBTS, QSI, IONQ, QUBT. That should be all of them right there, right? So interesting day to day, and if you've been kind of following the last few things I've been saying, look, we have been trying to regain 50% of this crazy candle. Maybe it was around right there at 22,600, give or take, right? But this Thursday candle on the NASDAQ, right? It was the exact same candle on the S&P 500, exact same candle on the Dow Jones, right? And maybe not exact same candle, but again, I care more about the first two than this one, right? But what we're basically looking at, even with the Dow Jones actually, what we're still looking at is we are nicely over more than 50% of that scary Thursday candle, all right? Let me come back to the NASDAQ because I'm a tech guy, right? So we have now done the bare minimum requirement, all right? And if you've watched my videos before, normally if the NASDAQ drops a 2% day, if the NASDAQ drops like a 1.3% day, I actually start to make a really, really big deal about it, let alone a 2%, let alone a almost 2.7% day, right? I would make the biggest deal about this. I'm not just yet. And what I'm really focusing on is one more time. Right now, we're doing just a little bit better than the bare minimum. And hey, doing better than the bare minimum brings us double-digit tickers on the stocks that we expect, right? It brings us double-digit tickers on the stocks that we expect, right? So like, don't undermine the words that I'm saying, but also, I'm saying them for a reason, right? The next real big thing that needs to happen is this 20 moving this 20 moving average and the 50 moving average, right? The orange line right here and the red line right there, right? I often say when I use my personal money, I'm moving it on something called the 1 and the 2. It's a little different than this chart reader view that we're on right now, all right? And my 1 and the 2 actually have the important moving averages under the 23,000 mark. And it basically was the last thing I said. Like, we need to get over 23,000 on NASDAQ. I know it doesn't look like it, right? Because this chart is actually saying 23,150-ish, right? Is really what we need to get over. But to me, using that 1 and the 2, get me over 23,000 on the NASDAQ, I'm full confidence. Again, this QQQ looks exactly like the NASDAQ. On the 1 and the 2, it looks a little different, but same basic strategy, right? So that's what I'm looking for, all right? On the way down, sorry, CompQ, I got a little frozen right there. As long as we don't lose 22,600, I think I'm relatively still bullish, all right? What I am, hey, I'll be honest with you. I held some stocks overnight. I still have like 3 hours, 4 hours to think about if I want to hold them. Like, I might sell some stuff after hours. I don't know just yet, but I'm saying the words not full confidence yet, knowing I'm holding some stuff. And like I said, I've been mouse stealing a cheese trading, right? Like, I'm not a day trader. That's not what my strategy is. But I've been waking up at 6:30, give or take, looking at the charts, seeing what's good, buying something, and then selling it at the end of the day, right? So I'm liking what's happening. I just need a little bit more to be full confidence, and that's kind of making me decide if I want to hold actually and wake up to what tomorrow does, or just sell it and react to tomorrow, and then maybe ride confirmations and continuations after that. But hey, we at least did the minimum, right? Get me over 23,000 on NASDAQ. What's the S&P 500 line just to do it? I'm gonna guess it's about 6,700. Right? Obviously, this view is saying 67.6, right? 6,760, but I'm just kind of guessing using the NASDAQ and the 1 and the 2. So I apologize for the slight deviation on that, but I at least want to give you my best info, okay? So that's market thoughts. From there, look, there are some decent things happening on all of the tickers that we're looking at, all right? First and foremost, I love this candle. All right, look in the box over there. The high of the day, the third line, and the close of the day, that green first line, are to the penny the exact same. There is no wick. There was literally just buying and buying and buying and buying and buying until the market rang the bell and said, get out of here. Come back tomorrow if you want, right? So I am loving that candle right there, all right? We still have some things that need to happen, and I'll talk about that, right? But I do like that candle a lot. Look, as we look at SoundHound, there's a lot of lines right here, right? And there's a little bit of me that wants to delete some lines, but I'm really looking at the moving averages. And get me over this 200, there's a lot of red, red, red all the way up to the 20, right? So that's what I'm going to be looking for right there. As we get into Regati, so this morning, again, my morning was a little bit later, but where is it? Where is it? If Regati can get over 25, it looks like it'll be good to go. And you can see that was relatively early in the day. I like to sleep, so it's not at 6:30, right? But what was I looking for? I was really looking to get over this 8 and the 100, right? Again, on my view, on the 1 and the 2, it looked like these lines were below the 25. That's why I wanted it, right? But from 25 to here was some nice trading. We're basically, actually, we're higher than that. I didn't expect that. I missed that. But what are we looking for now? Honestly, I think I'm kind of ignoring this line right here, but I'm basically looking for the 20 up here at 32 roughly, right? I think it's important to keep this 28.50 in your back pocket. 28.40 is where the line's at, right? But there is enough red, red, red to green, green, green that really does make me think 32 is going to be the decent target. I see this thing going up a bit after hours too. Nice to see that. Very cool. Again, keep 28.44 in your back pocket. I drew that line for a reason. It was probably this. Yeah, again, actually, honestly, I'll leave it, but there's a good part of me that wants to like raise it up to here, and that's actually over the 20 moving average, right? So again, I think 32 is the thought right there, and then over 32 is this 35.60 line right there. One more thing to call out. Oh wow, I'm not even in the thing. I'm getting really into it because that's how into it I am, right? This looks solid. Let's look at QBTS. Get me over that 100 is what we're looking for. QUBT. Get me over these lines right here. Again, right now, we're looking for the channel fills, right? We're hoping the NASDAQ continues up. If it doesn't, that's essentially what's going to be the plan. Again, channel fill up is what we're looking for. I got a little too into it as I was looking at the realities right there, right? So, cool. Before we do go any further, though, and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So honestly, I feel like I said a lot of the good things in that opening thoughts on accident, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. I'm not going to make this too long. But look, I love this candle, right? There is nothing more than I love that. Well, there's a couple things I guess I do like more, but trust me, it's up there. It's easy top 5, all right? When the high of the day is to the penny the same as the close of the day, and again, if you're looking in the box over there, the third line is the high, the first line, and it's the same number right there, right? We closed at, and the high of the day was $6.27 to the penny, right? That literally means nothing but buying till the very last second, and that's strength right there, right? That is what that is, okay? We clearly have gotten over 2 moving averages. I want it to confirm, but really at this point, the goal is either go up to the 100 moving average sitting at 650. That's going to be the next target. Or if I had to guess, we might hover around 605. I don't know if it'll stay a little closer to the 612 or if it'll come down to this 590. That's kind of why I'm thinking like 6.5-ish, maybe a little bit in between the two of those, right? But the goal really is take me to 650. After 650, the number is going to be 680. If BBAI gets to 680, I would imagine that means, come on, baby. That means NASDAQ has made its way on up here, and I would start to see what NASDAQ does around that 23,000 range, all right? So BBAI will heavily be dictated on the NASDAQ. What I like, All right. Oh, there's a little bit of a lag. I apologize here. What I really like, and this is something I said over and over in the Discord last week. All right. I not only need them. Oh, my cat's at the door. Hey, what are you doing? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. So what I needed was not just for the NASDAQ to do well, but I needed to see the stocks that I normally look at, right? The ones that we normally look at, right? The ones that I cover, the ones that we chat about regularly. Those needed to start to pick up. We've been seeing BBAI just go down. We've been seeing... Come on, man. Why are you lagging? We've seen Rigotti just go down, et cetera, et cetera. But we've actually been seeing QQQ make good spikes before the down, right? So I'm glad that so far the tickers that we normally like are following right now. Let's break and continue. I'm really liking these lower indicators too, right? That's a good green over red at a low 40. MACD did slip into the negative, but give me a break of the moving averages, we'll for sure break into a positive MACD, right? So BBAI, I'm liking it right there, right? Let's talk about SoundHound real quick, and then I'll get into the quants shortly. Look, I know I have a line at 1260, and I know it's a golden line, so that generally means I have a lot of strong confidence in that line, right? I generally say you gotta give more respect to the moving averages because these are computer-generated lines. I'm just some dude clicking, right? And hey, knock on wood, my clicks are better than worse, but like, I'm not a to the penny perfection guy, right? Like, good enough will make you live so much better than most people, believe me there, right? But what am I looking for? I'm actually looking for the 200 moving average to break. That purple line right there. It's sitting at $12.14. Maybe this 1260 is the break of that, and that's how you would use it. But to me, getting over 1214 matters way, way more, right? But hey, maybe this is just a confirmation line. But nonetheless, get over the purple line, and you're talking about 14 bucks right above that, right? That's actually more than, maybe it's around a 20% move. You're adding $2. It's like, yeah, it's under 20%, but it's a good move. That's a nice little double digit right there. There are multiple moving averages sitting right there. So for now, I think 1450 might be a little bit of a cap. What I liked about BBAI, it only had 2 moving averages above it, just like the NASDAQ. This one has 3, right? So I think I got to give a little more liking to BBAI than SoundHound solely because of that, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's get into Rigotti right here. And yeah, like I said, I'm liking Rigotti right now. I'm seeing the move after hours. You know I'm not here to get too excited about after hours. And really, it's this regular candle that actually really caught my eyes, all right? So, like I said, one of the first comments this morning on the Discord when I woke up was, hey, if Rigotti gets over 25, it looks like it's going to be hungry for more, right? And that's basically what we're seeing right now, right? These lines don't add up to it, but like I said, I use something called the 1 and the 2. The lines are a little different, but the concepts are all the same, right? And getting over that 25 put me in a really good place on the 1, and yeah, it was easy to share from that, right? So I'm basically looking for red to green all the way up to 32. If we can break 32, we'll head to 35.50. I think that's the highest I'll be thinking for now, all right? Actually, these look very, very similar to the NASDAQ lower indicators, right? I'll flash them shortly, but -3, red over green, 31 green over red, right? As we look at the NASDAQ, which is identical to QQQ, that same -3 on the MACD, not quite the 31, but a nice low 41 green over red, right? So if NASDAQ does well, what I'm liking is that Rigotti is starting to follow, right? Like during this peak up on NASDAQ, Rigotti was just going down, right? And we're about to go flash back to it just before the 23rd or just after the 23rd, right? RGTI, right? Even before the 23rd, goodness. But yeah, from there, yeah, you get what I'm saying, right? So it's nice to see that we've had a decent 2-day follow. You know I need more than that, but yeah, those are the numbers I'm thinking up. As long as we don't lose 25, that same 25 that got me interested in the stock is now the must-hold support, right? If this goes below 25, it is game over. Otherwise, like I said, let's see what it can do if it can head up into the 30s, all right? As you look at QBTS, look, I like the fact that Rigotti was over those moving averages. This one quite isn't, right? Like we're still under this 100 right now. Really, I think I'm going to like it a little closer to 2380. If this can get over 2380, I think we'll start thinking 2750, give or take, right? I know I have that 25 line, but I think 27 is relatively realistic right there. As we look in IONQ, look, I like IONQ more than QBTS for the sole fact that it's at least over this line, and it can make me start thinking, let's head up to 52. That's basically the next target I'm looking for. I think as long as we don't lose this 45, that'll be good. And hey, I'm also seeing this head up after hours. I don't have my phone in front of me, so I don't know if there's any news going on or not, but Rigatti's going up, IONQ is going up. It's again, I'm not here to get excited over after hours, but I think when the sector starts to do it a little bit of a unison, that does get me a bit excited. QUBT, a lot like IONQ, it's making me think we're going to head on up the channel to 1290, give or take. It's actually a little bit more than a 10% move. I know the channel itself looks small, right? The distance from here to here isn't big, but it is actually a nice little double digit if we can hit it right there. As long as we don't lose, I mean, really, it's 11. Don't go below 11 on QUBT. And then lastly, QSI, I have to be thinking 155 is what I'm thinking. A little bit more than a 10% move right there. It will be hard to get over 155 because there are so many moving averages right there. All right, so let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, oh, I appreciate you so much.